Jurgen Klopp, Gegenpressing Mr. Klopp. Jurgen Klopp, wie du willst en wil is een born. Jurgen Klopp, Gegenpressing like Mr. Klopp. Jurgen Klopp, you never walk alone. In Klopp, we trust.
So my name's Sophie and I'm in charge of the official LFC supporters clubs all around the world. On this call today we have OLSC Kuala Lumpur. We're lucky to have some dialing in from Kuala Lumpur, but we have 3 in the office in the city centre with me now, so live stream straight from Liverpool. Janine's joining from the foundation as well. They are this year's winners of the This Needs More challenge for the LFC Foundation, so they activated their local community to help those in need in the name of LFC. So their prize for that today is talking to you, and so I'll pass you over to them. They're here.
Hello. Yeah, what made you the winners? So obviously a win-win situation. You did great stuff, and you could come to Liverpool to watch a game, which sounds pretty exciting, even to me. Cool. How are you?
Good. Yeah, good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. It's a rather good morning, even when the last night, ended a bit strange in the press conference with a question about the African Cup of Nations, which was a bit harsh to get. But yeah, apart from that, all good. So how it's going from here?
So they're going to ask questions. Kuala Lumpur have just had to mute you. There's a lot of background noise. So if you've got a question, if you can use the raise hands function in the chat, or type your question and we'll read it out here if that's okay.
Okay.
Hi Jurgen, how are you?
Very good. Thank you very much.
Alright, my question is going to be like this. What do you think about the soon-to-be happen, the departure of Michael Owens, the sporting director of LFC, and then in which way it's going to affect you personally and also LFC in total?
So first of all, we work obviously since I'm here, since 6 years around about, we work really well together, and yeah, that's the fact. But then it's a personal decision that he wanted to do something else, whatever. You have to ask him what it will be exactly, but we leave each other with the best thoughts about each other. So, and only 5 minutes ago, the guy who steps in the job was in my office, so Julian, and so we are in safe hands. You don't have to worry about that. It's in the end, Liverpool is a great club, so when we are interested in players, then I think it's not too difficult to get them in, because we are only interested in players we can afford. If we can't afford them, we don't even have to ask. That's how it is. But when we can afford a player, then I think we are a really good place to go. So it's not that our sporting director has to do miracles then that he can convince players to come to Liverpool. Because of all of you, we are in a pretty good place, and so that's it. So we will be fine. We will be not affected as much as I'm concerned.
Perfect. In Jurgen we trust.
Thank you.
Hi again, good morning.
Hi, morning.
First of all, I want you to know that you hear this very often, but I want you to know that I'm your biggest fan in the world. I'm sure many people say the same thing. You have many big fans around the world. But for me personally, I see you beyond football. I believe to us, a lot of young leaders out there today, myself, my wife, my friends, you are an icon of leadership. We look at you beyond football. So I personally, I have a huge picture of you in my office wall, just as an inspiration. So you mean a lot to us within you. So my question is, to all to young leaders out there who are aspiring, whichever field, maybe sports, it could be business, it could be management. My question is, what are the three, to you, what do you think that are the three main leadership qualities that young leaders must have to do well?
Say empathy, curiosity, and honest, I think love people, that you really want to help people, that you want to. It's not possible when you are a leader that you are not interested in the group you have to lead. That doesn't work. So there are no leadership skills which work as much as I know. They work without being really empathic about the people you work together with. And so that's where it all starts. You need to get as many information as you can about the people you work with. And as a father, which you are right, is 100% a leading role. It's the easiest thing because we love our kids much more than we love ourselves, which is really nice. So we are really worrying about them, but want to make life as, not easy, but as good as possible. And so this is the best example actually for all leaders in the world. That's where it starts from, pretty much the basis for all leadership. And that's how I try to work since I'm in this role or a similar role. So I'm really interested in the people I work together with, and so I try to collect over the years a lot of information so that I know exactly where I have to pick them from. And it doesn't work always because we're all human beings and we fail. But it works out more often than not. And even when it doesn't work out, we had at least a good time together. So that's pretty important as well. And that's it. It's really not, I don't think it's complicated. If you mix that all up with common sense, then I think it's possible. The most important thing actually, by the way, what I forgot, is knowledge about the things. So if you're in business, you should know what you're doing. Like football, I should know what I'm doing, obviously. And as a father or mother, you should know what you're doing. So your own struggles in childhood are not always the best advice. And you think, I had that problem, so my kids will have that problem as well. Life is different meanwhile. And so, yeah, it's not complicated how I say, but it's nice to do. And I love being in the world, to be honest.
Thank you, Jurgen.
That's a great question, guys. That's a great question. I can't claim to be a young leader anymore, but an old leader, but we can still learn. So don't worry, not all the guys in the room, don't worry, you can still learn. But it's a great question.
So I just wanted you to know that we see you beyond football, not just the coach of LFC, but I think you're an inspiration to many of us around the world, and we hope that you stay beyond 2024. Never know. Thank you.
We love you, Jurgen!
Yeah, I have this question regarding Arsenal. What do you say and how do you the loss against West during the game for Arsenal?
And you can see us.
The specific challenge after that game was that the players left, who plays all over the world because they had to go to their national teams, which made it really tricky. Usually you can directly work on things like this, how you overcome it, how you learn of it, all these kind of things. But in this case, they were all in different countries. So we had to let it settle a little bit. It was not so easy because when I cannot speak about it and cannot start working on it immediately, then I carried it around with me much longer. So I had it in my stomach for 3-4 days because I thought it was really unnecessary, completely unnecessary. Obviously, when you're working football, you know that losing is part of the game. But I'm still not used to it, to be honest. And especially in this situation, I really carried it around for a while. But in general, of course, a defeat is only a defeat, a real defeat, if you don't learn of it. And that's what we usually try to do, so pretty quick. So you have to feel it in the first place, because that makes sure that you don't really don't get used to losing. That should not happen, especially not in a club as Liverpool. If you think, yeah, it can happen, all these kind of things. It can happen, but it should not. And that's why we are then obviously working on it. And our problem is, especially in the West Ham game, but it's pretty much in all games when you lose, obviously your defending is not as good as it could have been. And that's something we can work on usually and train, but that was in this case was difficult as well because the boys were not here, so they were in the national teams. So we had exactly one session, a big meeting and one session which to really show the boys what was wrong, how easy it is for us to change, and how can we, what can we use for the Arsenal. And then on top of that, Arsenal is a different team to West Ham, so you cannot just put it one-to-one exactly in the same place. You have to accept that Arsenal has different skill set, and in the end, that's the best thing about it. We are meanwhile in a position where we focus mainly on ourselves. So it means, yes, there's an opponent, we need to know what they usually do, but actually we expect from ourselves that they are not allowed to do what they usually do, because against us it must be much more difficult. And so we had enough time to prepare it, even when it was only one meeting and one session, but you could see in the Arsenal game that the boys obviously learned from the defeat, that they really realized that if we defend at our highest level, we are the one team nobody wants to play against. If we don't do that, we punish ourselves, and thank God, we could solve it. So since then we played 2 games, we won 2 games, and hopefully much more will come.
Thank you.
Welcome.
We're just going to go to the team in Kuala Lumpur. There's a lot of background noise, so if any of you do have a question, if you want to come a little bit closer to the microphone, that might help. You have to unmute yourselves, please.
I'm muted.
We have not muted.
You muted already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi from Kopites.
Hi guys.
Hi Jurgen. Hi everybody.
Hi Jurgen. We love you, Jurgen. Love you, President Kopites.
So how are you doing, Jurgen? I'm Kalaimani from Kopites. I have a question. So your current first team is about in the 30s age group, or they are reaching there in about a year time. So what's your take on it? And or are you getting the youth team ready? That's my question.
Yeah, that's the thing in football, that people think when you go direction 30 you become old already. But thank God that's not the case, and it's actually the best age group you can have. You have a lot of experience, your body is still working on a very high level, you understand the game much better, you can judge the situations much better, so it means you are pretty much on the peak of your ability. And of course, in 3-4 years time, if they would be all 34, 35, that would be maybe a little bit of a problem. But we see that we have much younger players in. I think that the team has a really healthy age structure. So the goalkeeper, Ali, I don't know exactly how it is, 28, 29, he can play another 12 years, for example. And then Robo is 28, 27, 28, Trent is 23. We have a young centre half with Ibu, we have Angel Gomez, so that's sorted pretty much for the future. Midfield, Fabinho is not a lot, so it's like we have everything, and we have very young players obviously coming up. So you should not worry too much about the age of the players. The good thing is they are really fit. So the oldest player in the squad is James Milner, is the fittest player as well. So that shows us that we have still a few good years with this team.
Hi again.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Marlin.
Hey, hi. How are you doing?
Good, I'm good. I'm going to ask you a question not related to football. Okay. You are known for your heavy metal brand of football, but football aside, what sort of music do you listen to?
Radio.
What? Radio.
Whatever comes out the radio, I listen to. I'm not really a music guy. I used to. Yes. The heavy metal thing is a comparison. I said that because people asked me about a comparison to Arsene Wenger when he was at Arsenal, to Arsenal football that time. I said I don't know too much about it, but when I watch them, it looks like Arsene Wenger is rather likes more calm music, stuff like this, well organized, orchestral things. And if I watch my team playing, it looks like heavy metal. And it's true, I had a few records of Kiss, for example, when I was young, but that's long ago. And nowadays, with getting older, Ray and all those kind of things, I prefer the calm music as well, but still not the heavy metal football, so that didn't change yet.
Thank you.
Okay, my question is, in current Liverpool team, you only have a talented player, team to manage. If finance is not an issue, which past player or present player you would like to manage Liverpool team?
Which past player?
Whether past player or current player you would like to manage Liverpool?
Steve Gerrard. That's easy because I actually had a big honor to coach him. So he came here when he was American in Los Angeles. Obviously he came here for whatever to do and asked him to get training from session class. So of course. So I watched the training sessions and thought, oh my God, how good is he? And then he was already 35, 36, so coming back to the new question, how old can he be? I think it was really in good shape. Then we had a game in Australia, in Sydney, I think. We needed some players to help us out, so we brought in Steve McManaman, Jamie Carragher, Steve Gerrard, and Daniel Agger. So, and I have to say, I was surprised how good Jamie Carragher was, to be honest. Never liked him too much as a player, but he was really good, to be honest. Daniel Agger looked like he could have played still. Steve McManaman was like, he's rather my age group, so maybe the game was a bit too quick for him, but we all know what a player he was. And Steve Gerrard was just the best player on the pitch. So, and that was really very impressive. So, if I have a choice, which player I would like to manage, it's Steve Gerrard. Yeah. That's an answer Liverpool fans like it.
Steve Gerrard.
Very good day to you, Mr. JK.
This camera.
We are okay.
We are okay.
So, again, as I told you, as the biggest fan in the world, I self-proclaimed to be. What we did was we actually got you a painting. This is a painting which was done by Malaysian, one of the members. Yeah, so I'm going to be pushing a lot right here, but if we could just come over and pass it to you at the hotel during your walks in the morning, if we could allow us to just give it to you during then, that would be great. If not, we'll probably leave it here with Sophie, and hopefully you can get it and take a picture and send it to us. That would be great as well. We will be there, hopefully, if you're in the morning, we'll be there and show you guys on. But yeah, just something for you.
You sure you don't want it back? We could sign it and you get it back. That would make it good.
Send you another one after that, okay?
The thing is with the personal stuff is we are still in the COVID, we're still in the pandemic, and we have to be really careful. So all these things with meeting people, touching things other people touched before, it's a crazy world we're living in. So that could be slightly difficult. If you get it to Sophie, Sophie gives to us to sign it. If you want all of us, you can ask for some signings, all signings, whoever's on it and is still here. We'll try to make sure that it gets his autograph. We can get it back, and then we can maybe put it in auction, and let's see how
it up and keep it.
Well, I look a little bit.
Signal 91. Do we have any question here?
Reception's quite tough.
Yeah. What do you want to type the question maybe? Do you have any questions?
And I look here, I should that video.
There we go.
Yes, to the right selection. I think the signal's back.
Yes, we could hear you.
Can hear us.
Yeah, we go 2 more minutes. Yes.
Okay, I'll go with my question. Hi, Mr. JK, I'm Sean here. Alright, so this question of mine to you is like a bit general, but I'm still, I'm very curious to know what is your opinion on this. So you are widely known as the best manager in the world, right? So what is your opinion on what are the type of attitudes that a football manager, a professional football manager should possess, or an upcoming football manager should carry over?
But I think I know what it's about. So the question was probably what kind of skill set manager should have. So I don't know 100% the answer because I have no idea how I came to the position I'm in today. So it was never planned. I would be completely happy if somebody would told me you can manage football teams until you retire. But unfortunately, you will never win something like a trophy or something. I would have done it because I just love the game. So my career developed obviously in a quite, from my point of view, surprisingly strange way. And again, number one, what you need to know about football or how
Only for your question.
Patients who did that. I said this because I was a player until the day before I became a manager, and I saw the game only from one perspective. It was my perspective on the pitch, and it was just it's not perfect. That changed from time to time because of midfield or something, but you cannot really understand the game. And I tried to do that by watching, I would say, for 5 years, for sure 10,000 games. Games were not involved, obviously, just to improve. So that's one thing. Then, so if you know about football, you have to
Slagging from this side.
No, the audio is on.
Audio is on. Not from our side.
It's lagging. It's okay.
Anybody don't this or
Bad night.
anybody don't post anywhere first
No, yeah. We don't post.
Kopites post first
Yeah, we shouldn't.
Our network is something wrong.
Our network.
We can't hear you, sorry, Mr. JK.
Can you type it? At least you type it then. I think so sad. He's coming really fast. Rejoin.
Full connection, right? Full connection. Network is there, right? Yeah.
Maybe just one last question here again. Okay.
Well, push back.
Hi.
Push back. Okay. And you're the national leader, what I said. And that's really not so easy. Actually, media work should be easy for you as well because it's a big part of the job. And now, in these days where we're living now, obviously that's not very important. So people listen to what you say, you have to do say the right things. And that's probably my biggest skill. because I couldn't care less what people think about what I say in the media. So that's just, I go in, somebody asks me something, I can answer. And some managers struggle with that. They try to prepare press conferences and stuff like this. And they are really, that's for me kind of like holiday of the really important things over the day. So, doesn't sound too difficult. Be busy, be interested in people, in football, and don't care about media, and you have the chance to become a really good football manager. So, looks like we can all be a really good football manager, but yeah, that's it pretty much. So,
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
you are so welcome. It's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for all the things you do, in your community or wherever. Really, thank you very much. That's great. That's absolutely great. You are deserved winners of the prize.
We are Liverpool, tra-la-la-la. We are Liverpool.
Cheers, Klopp. Cheers, Jurgen.
Yeah, can you just talk?
Oh shit!
Oh, I should have continued talking.
Okay, guys, it's okay.
Yeah, it's a good one, yeah? It's a good one.
Stop. You gotta stop.
Yeah, yeah.